Hello there, welcome back. Now I'm going to talk about The Fall of Echo Castle, which is a adaptation of the 47 Ronin. So this was directed by Kinji Fukasaku, who you'll recognise of the Battles of Honor and Humanity films, as well as the new ones. You know, he did Battle Royale later in his career. He did a lot of stuff like Cops like Thug versus Thugs, Graveyards of Honor. Basically, in the 70s, he was if it was a Yakuza film and he was directing it, was going to be good. He was a king of the Yakuza, really for quality, for consistent quality throughout the films. He was just knocking them at the park all the time, just non-stop genius level. So, of course, as his career went on, he tried different things. And he moved on and he tried this adaptation of 47 Ronin because he decided to go do other like historical epics and things like that as well. So, The Fall of Echo Castle was a film recommended to me by Who's from Touch of Film, which I had not seen. Eventually, it has been released under the title Swords of Vengeance on the Sunny Chiba collection, which is a seven film collection. I'll just go get it. All right, here we go. This is where you can find it. So you get a lot of films on this. You actually get two more from a director. You get Shogun Shadow and Samurai Reincarnation as well, which are both of his films from, you know, that period, all starring Sonny Chiba, because he started, like Kinji Fukasaku, Saku, whatever. Him and Sonny Chiba did some films together over time, so this was one of many, because this one, Sonny Chiba's in it, but he's only in it for a small part. He's a supporting part. He turns up about an hour in to what is a 3-hour film, and he appears throughout the rest of the film, but he's not the central part. He's not really he's like the bodyguard to our lead character. Our lead character is Oshi, played by Yurokuya Kinosaki, which I know I butchered that, but I did my best. Who also worked with the director on these kind of films that were more set in the past, also included Sonny Chiba. And basically, the film was a slow burn towards revenge. This is not a film that is like the American version, which was sort of kind of used, which was lots of monsters, lots of revenge. It took place over like hour 50, and basically you had an epic battle at the end of the castle that was filled with goons. No, in this one it's completely opposite. They end up attacking a small compound is protected by the guys who protect the Lord and Master Kira, but it's not an epic battle. It's a grudge match, really, where you have some good warriors, but generally it's a revenge thing. It's not to do with show off special effects. It's about revenge and about honor. So the film starts with a fight between Lord Asano and Lord Kira. They're both going to the capital and are both in the, Emperor Japan's residence. And Asano has been given a great honor of within this grouping, and Kira's obviously jealous about it, and he suggests Asano was actually incompetent and was going to bungle the whole thing. And obviously, this has been going for a while because you just have a feeling this is something that happens a lot between these two. This is like a slow building grudge between two people that's going to explode. And in this case, it explodes. Asano attacks a guy, attacks Kira, stabs him once or twice in the back, but it's not serious. But because it's such a massive dishonor to have violence within this holy temple of government, that's basically because, of course, in olden times, the emperor or the king, or whatever, was basically your connection to God, because people still believed in a lot more of the gods, and whatever religion they believed in was all tied to the emperor, and the order of what the emperor or the king would bring meant a lot. That's why it's important to be loyal to them, and why you call people traitors. So to actually dishonor this was massive, but basically one side said, okay, he dishonored them, but you have to look into what Kira had done before that, because it was obviously pretty bad. Not just that occasion, but what happened before. And the other side, the side who are going to judge it, have been told pretty much let Kira away, just get rid of Kira, and don't charge him. So this comes directly from the Emperor. Do not charge him. Just get rid of him, blame Asano, because he had the actual violence. So basically, one side says, oh, justice was done. And the other side said, no, it wasn't. Because Asano is saying, like, refuses to blame anyone but himself. But everyone else saying, no, there was stuff before that needs to be dealt with. Needs further investigation to get a more complete picture. They don't do that, and basically Asano was told to commit harikari, which he does on orders, and then basically his whole estate is now under the command of the Emperor and is going to be wiped out. The House of Asano is going to be wiped out because of the shame he brought them. But he's got a brother who could resurrect Asano, House of Asano, if everyone shows proper respect and proper obedience to the Emperor for a year or two of shame, and then it'll all blow over, basically. But a lot of the people who worked, a lot of samurai who worked for Asano feels this is nonsense. This is just not the way it should have been. Like their commander was actually used as a political puppet, and now he's dead because of it. And they want Kira. Not only that, they want to shame the government for what they did. So the plot of this second and third acts basically are about revenge. And the second act's a long act where basically they have to not do anything. Like, there was talk of them actually rebelling within the castle itself, of Akko Castle, but then basically they would have been outnumbered by all the government troops, and would be killed. So there's about 50 odd people who are still loyal, samurai are still loyal to the old master. So Oishi, who's a lead character, actually has suggested they're going to have to commit harikari as well as a sign, as a protest. That's not what he's actually about. He's actually want to see how many of these samurai are actually got the guts to go for revenge, and that's his test. And once he sees there's certain ones who've got the guts and they've got the drive, they're yelling, "We're not doing that. We're going to take revenge." He says, "This is the real plan. We're going to disappear for a while. We're going to go on our lives, and then when everyone thinks it's safe, that's when we get the revenge. We let them drop their guard, and then we get it." So that's what they do. But there's a lot of politics involved, because a lot of their people want revenge early. They want it so, like, I want to see this revenge. I'm too old. I might die before it happens. There's other ones who are hotheads and who have to be brought in line and almost ruin the thing by attacking someone too early. And so he has to deal with all the hotheads. Some of the people fall away. Someone gets injured and he just falls into a pit of self-pity. And of course the Crown is investigating. Not the Crown, the people in charge of Japan know something must be going on. Like they've been very cautious about it. It's like, okay, they've laid down so much. It's like nothing. And so they're saying, well, that's what we told them to do. What are they lying to us? And to be that paranoia as well. So this is a slow build situation. And this is what the director does really well in his films. He's a master at this. So Fukasaku is absolutely great at slow burns. If you've seen the Battles for Humanity Battles for Humanity and Honor, you'll know that the slow burn paranoia within an organization or within a group of people is what he's great at. I mean, all those battles films all have political ploys within political ploys, and people waiting and waiting before the actual violence happens. He's just great at that. And this one, you stretch it out because it's based on this classic story, and you know the revenge is going to come eventually. So you can stretch it out and really stretch it out and see people break. It's like one guy ends up selling his wife into prostitution so he can get the money from her other men so he can drink himself. And there's that problem with him. And there's other people who are just losing their minds because it's like, are we ever going to attack? At some point, they get one or two of them get attacked by others who think they're up to something. And that's when Sanichiba comes in, kills those attackers, then buries their bodies. It's like, no, we're going to keep going. And even at some point, the leader looks as if he's lost it and has gone into dealing with prostitutes and madness and totally debased himself. And then he says, no, we're going to wait until they betray the brother of our leader because we know they're going to do it. And as soon as they see that there's no one's fighting back for him, they'll show their true cards, they'll betray him, and that's when, because everyone else is saying they want to trap us, we're not going to do it. So once the brother's betrayed, it's like, okay, now it's time. We gave him every chance to do the decent thing. We waited. And that's when they plan the revenge. And that's when we get to the actual revenge section. But because you watch them suffer through so much, they suffer through the master being killed, they suffer through the political decisions around that and how a lot of their own people just abandoned the clan straight away. They've suffered through not knowing what to do. They've suffered through years of been, well, about a year been Ronin and being basically homeless. And they know basically if they do this, they're going to die. They're going to get killed for doing this. There's no way out. Like the leader forces his wife to divorce him so that she will not suffer the consequences of what he's going to do. So they know the best they can achieve is death. And they're still that dedicated to this character, who in the film is only in it for 5 minutes and does not feel like he's worth the hassle. But that's what's really good about the film, is the sense is it's about the honor more than the person. It's about what they feel is the honor of life, the honor of what their beliefs are. And it's you're allowed to observe it and you take your own thing about what this honor means. It's just that's what they're about. That's what the story they're telling. And it's about how the whole honor thing can be twisted by government for their own gain, and how it can be twisted by predators who want to use it for their gain, which Kira does early on, and he suffers the consequences later on. And basically, because Kira was such a git, like dozens of people die because of this guy. Like, all his own men die. I mean, they murder everybody in that place. Anybody who has a sword in Kira's house at the end gets killed. And then Kira hides like a coward, and they finally get him, and they take his head off. And then they actually serve a sentence when they're told, look, you have to die for this. This is like, you knew you were going to have to die for this, even though we have sympathy for you, and even though some of us would like to help you. There's enough in government saying, no, we have to make an example of these because if they do it, other people will do it. And they accept it with grace, which is an unmoving sequence, and they accept it. Like 47 of them are going to die because they did this thing, and some are old, some are young, but they're all going to do it for the master. And they took out the guy who did dirt. It's just a wonderful film. It's just, there's lots of wonderful scenes in it throughout it. It works as a terrific thriller, works as a terrific drama about how much are you into your own belief and how a lot of people will use the beliefs to get themselves ahead in society, and then as soon as it becomes difficult, they'll walk away. And it's like, who are the true believers? Who are the ones who really believe it? Even if they can see the absurdity of it, even if they can see there's plenty of things to live for, but no, I need to live up to my obligations, to my sense of what's right in this world, to my sense of what's fair. Even if it costs my life, I'm going to do it. Realize that it's only a small percentage of the population who are going to do that, and these are the people who do it. And of course, this becomes a legendary story after it, because it's this story of utter faith and utter dedication to someone who meant something to you. So it's a very romantic notion, but it's also, this film shows the kind of realistic brutality of the whole thing, and how difficult it is to actually, how easy it is to fall away when it's much easier to fall away, and how hard it is to actually keep up a cause, especially when it could potentially be as absurd as this, because it's ultimately, the guy's very dead. You can't bring him back in any way. There's no way out of this that looks good for you, and they still do it. So this is just a wonderful film. I mean, I would recommend buying the box set just for this film. It's so good. But there's a lot of stuff in this box set that looks really good too. So, yeah, the Swords of Vengeance or The Fall of Echo Castle, definitely worth seeing. It's wonderful. So, hope you enjoyed these videos. I'll be back soon with some more. Bye for now.